Hi everyone, welcome back or to the show if you're new here. Miso is currently playing with his toy right now. Just be aware. Today we're going to be doing a second episode all about finances and money and saving. I have been wanting to do this episode. I had it pre-planned weeks ago, but I was waiting for my sister to come on as like a guest interview. She's like way too busy, so I'm just gonna do what I was originally gonna do, and eventually she will come on. Today we're gonna talk about saving, investing. I think I'm very financially smart for a 21-year-old. Obviously, I'm not a pro. I'm just gonna share my tips and tricks. Miso got a bath today, so he looks a little funny if he pops in. But before we get into today's episode, let's talk about what's been going on this week, because I haven't really done a solo episode in a minute. Hello, Miso. Welcome to the show. Also, before we get into my updates of the week, the show is officially on YouTube, so now you can watch me and Miso. The YouTube is just my name, Shelby Wright, but then I think you can also find it by looking up my perspective, and it's also in the show notes. I think watching it is really entertaining, and I've gotten really good feedback from it already, which is great. Oh, also, just make sure you're following the show so you know when every time there's a new episode, and then also make sure you're following the Instagram. I think I'm going to do a Q&A episode soon, so if you want me to answer any of your questions, mainly probably health and wellness correlated or post-grad or maybe even boys or something, make sure you're following the Instagram so I can answer your question. The Instagram is my perspective pod. I think that's pretty much all you guys need to know. Yeah, okay, let's just get into my week. Today has been actually insane. I went to a workout class. It's called the Full Routine, and I haven't been to their new mat heated location, and I actually died. It was so hard. I was dripping sweat. Thank God I didn't wash my hair last night because it would have been fully drenched. So I just washed my hair. I'm doing my makeup so that I can look presentable for the YouTube. And I'm like, oh, let me just trim my eyebrows because I don't get them done anymore. I completely chop off my eyebrow. And then I'm like, okay, let me try to fix it. I chop it off again. You can't really tell. If you're on the YouTube, I'll show you. It looks so bad, and I'm so mad at myself because I saw a TikTok of a girl doing it, and one of the comments was like, I'm so afraid to do this of like messing up my eyebrow. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I do it. I fully mess up my entire eyebrow. So we're gonna put some castor oil on that and help my eyebrow grow back. I'm so mad at myself. But besides that, some updates for y'all. I got my IUD out. I think I'm gonna do like a second or another just like hormones, birth control, and cycle syncing sort of update because I think I've learned a lot since I've last talked about it. So I had the copper IUD. I mainly got it out because I've been having extreme joint pain for almost 2 years now, and I've had really bad fatigue since I started college. At least that's like when I can pinpoint it. And so I went to the doctors because I was having pain in my ovary. I was like, okay, I just need to make sure I don't have any cyst or my IUD's in the right spot. She was like, everything's fine, but do you want to take it out? And I was like thinking I do want to take it out. I didn't do too much of a deep dive into the copper IUD because everything I even looked up, I'm like, what are the cons? And literally everything I looked up, or at least on the first page of Google, was saying that it's just like you'll have heavier periods. Honestly, that wasn't a big deal for me not to get it because I was not about to go on a normal birth control option again. Her hands are inside me. And she's like, okay, do you want to take it out? And I was not prepared to come take this IUD out when I went to the doctors. I mainly just wanted to make sure there was nothing going on, like causing it, because getting it in, I passed out and threw up. So I just thought taking it out would be the same thing. Didn't take any pain pills. She's like, okay, I think we should just take it out. Miso. I almost have a panic attack while she's taking it out. She's like, okay, count to 3 and then do a big cough. And I literally my whole body tensed up because I was freaking out so much because I was so nervous of how it felt when I got it in. And I wasn't prepared. I didn't take medication. I didn't have anyone with me. Miso really wants to play right now. But she takes it out and she's like, okay, if your IUD was what was causing you issues, you'll feel better within 6 months. And if it's not, you should really figure out what's wrong. Thank you. Thank you so much. She writes me a prescription for birth control, even though I'm obviously not going to take that. It already caused me problems. Why would I do that? Get this. She takes it out and the IUD is literally bent. It looks like a Z. not even a Z, like it looks like a V. And she takes it out and she's like, oh, yeah, that's not supposed to look like that. And it wasn't from taking it out. It just genuinely, that's what the IUD looked like. She was like, yeah, that could be why you're having problems. And luckily, my ovary has not hurt since getting it out, which is great. My joint pain has significantly gone down, but not completely. Another thing is my fatigue. It's still there. I honestly didn't really think it was from the IUD. Why I thought maybe my IUD was causing these problems was I went on Reddit, and those are real people's experiences, not just a medical doctor blog post or something. And everyone was saying that the copper IUD causes inflammation. And what is the root of all diseases? Inflammation. My joint pain is from inflammation. So I was like, okay, they kind of started at the same time. It might be from the IUD, like, let's get it out. But I was really nervous because, it's birth control. I still needed it. So now I'm in my natural cycles phase, where I'm taking my temperature to make sure to know when I'm ovulating. And then also another update was Hannah, one of my good friends, was in Laguna for work. And so I got to go on a walk with her, and I literally love her to death. It didn't feel like we were catching up because we were sending voice memos to each other so much, but it just felt like I was hanging out with one of my friends that I see on a weekly basis. And I don't. She lives in Tahoe. It was so fun to see her and just catch up. And now she's coming for my birthday, which I'm so excited for. Guys, I'm turning 22 next month, and I'm actually terrified. Okay, now for my high of the week. After work on Thursday, we went to play pickleball and also basketball, and I had so much fun. I haven't played pickleball in a very, very long time. I took 2 classes in college, and I still suck. I still genuinely really, really love playing. So we're going to start playing every Thursday or Tuesday after work, and then we play basketball while we wait for our turn to play. My low of the week, on the weekends, I've been sleeping anywhere from 10 to 13 hours at night. And I think it's mainly because I don't sleep that much during the week. My body is trying to make up for those hours, but I think it's a little odd because I wake up and I still could sleep some more. And what I love is Misa sleeps with me. Yeah, it's a little odd how much I sleep, and that's why, oh my god, I'm going to the doctor's tomorrow, and I'm going to exaggerate the hell out of what's wrong with me so they can figure out what the root cause is. And this is kind of my last resort before going to a out-of-pocket specialist. I'm dying over here. I'm in so much physical pain and so much exhaustion. It is just weird, and there's no explanation to it at this point. So I'm very excited for my doctor's appointment tomorrow. Honestly, enough chit chat about me. Let's get into today's episode. What are my credentials about telling you about finance? My credentials is 2 years ago, I paid off $30,000 of debt, or maybe it was 35, anywhere from $30,000 to $35,000 of debt. And secondly, I invest. I have no debt currently. I also always have $4,000 in my checkings account. That's my base level. Those are my credentials. Obviously, I'm no finance guru, but I am a 21-year-old who is pretty good with her finances. I have a lot to share. This is also part 2, so I've already talked about this before in another episode, so I'm not going to go over everything I've already talked about. And obviously, I'm not a financial guru, so don't take what I have to say to heart. It's not gold. I think it is very helpful because there are a lot of 20-year-olds who are very not good with their money. I want to be very successful and financially free, and that is my goal. So I'm working towards that every day. So last year I saved 45% of my income, and most people save maybe 20. That's the recommended amount. So that's also another credential for you. And we're gonna go all over the place in this episode. I have notes and stuff that I'll be referencing, starting off strong. I think these were notes that I was listening to a podcast and I found very helpful. And these are pretty much things that I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be reminding myself to do this year because, like I said, being financially free and having money is really important to me. Off the random top of my head is your rent should not be more than 30% of your income. that was really hard for me because rent is so expensive. I literally had a mental breakdown over my finances a week ago. I live alone currently, and in a couple of months, I'm going to have to be paying my own rent, or at least majority of my own rent. After doing my finances for the month of March, I realized I don't make enough money to even have my own room with a roommate. So that's why we'll see what's gonna happen. So I just was really frustrated with how expensive it is to find a place to live. My place, I live alone, but my place is actually affordable for your own place, which is crazy to think about. And me living with roommates is not much of a difference to be cheaper. But I'm obviously gonna do that. My month goes month to month after the 1 year. And then I'm gonna start looking for a roommate and a new place to live that's more in my budget, saving a couple $100s a month. But I'm not gonna rush into it. I wanna find the right place, the right person. I obviously can afford my rent. Like, I have 6 months savings in case shit hit the fan. But basically what I heard from another podcast was you should not be paying more than 30% of your income on your rent, which makes sense. And I realized that if I were to stay here, it would be like 50% of my income. Obviously I'm not going to do that. And I think that's just a good enough stat for you to remember, like, oh, okay, if I make 10 grand a year, I shouldn't be spending more than 3 grand on rent a year. Obviously, like, that's not a realistic amount, but I've just used 10 grand because it's easy number. When it comes to your car should not be more than 1/3 of your salary. This is not just your car payment, but this also includes insurance, gas, fixing up your car, because we all have maintenance. Okay, something with the rent was like, if you live in New York City and you have a Metro card and you don't have car payments, you don't have gas, you don't have like upkeep for your car, then that makes sense that your rent is more expensive because it's taking up the car portion of how much you're spending a month. But if you do have a car, then you don't want it to take up more than 15 to 20% of your income, and you want to factor in obviously the gas, the maintenance, and everything else that comes with. In my $30,000 or more of debt was my car. I got my car when I was 17, and I think I paid it off when I was 19. So it took me 2 years to pay off my car. Gas is actually horrendous. When I was living in SLO, I was driving out to LA every other weekend. I was spending about $500 to $600 a month on gas, which is crazy. Now I maybe $200, which is great because I'm not really driving anywhere anymore and I'm trying to walk as much as possible. A really small hack that I've been doing that people actually kind of hate me for is if I can walk there, I'm gonna walk there. I'm not gonna spend the money on gas or the money to park. So I've been walking to work, which I really, really love. It's a 15 to 20 minute walk to the warehouse. There's a Pilates place that's 10 minutes away from me. There's Trader Joe's that's 10 minutes away from me. Multiple coffee shops I can walk to. And it's not only great for me, but it's great for Miso to get out. I'm also saving gas. Obviously, it's not that far, so it's not a lot of gas, but it slowly adds up. That's all that matters. Also, my friends hated this. When I was in SLO, I would always park on like the free parking streets and then walk the 2 blocks to wherever we wanted to go. And they're like, Shelby, just pay for the $2 parking. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's only $2, but at the end of the month when I'm doing my finances, that adds up slowly. The little things is what actually adds up, because in the moment you're like, oh, it's only $5, $10. Yeah. And then you're saying that every other day. Something else I heard was if you're taking out student loan debt. I don't have student loan debt. I didn't go into college with student loan debt, which I'm very, very grateful for. But if you are, something that I've heard that's a really good indication, don't exceed your expected income in 10 years. So if you're a doctor, obviously you're going to be making as much as your student loan debt. Makes sense. But if you're a normal freaking comms major, you're probably not going to be making 100. I don't know. Some schools are so expensive. Some schools are literally, I think, 100 grand a year. I can't even go into student loan debt because it is insane to me. I totally would have went to community college probably. I mean, Cal Poly was really, really cheap for a state school, so I maybe would have still went there, but it just makes no sense if you don't think you'll ever be able to pay it off. Like, there are people still in their 50s trying to pay off student loan debt. I signed up for a health coaching school, and I'm currently doing that, and the school was very expensive. And I basically was trying, like, my sister helps me with my finances, and her husband was saying, do you think you'll make back this money once you graduate, within a year? And I'm like, yeah, 100%. I'm going to totally make back this money with clients. And he's like, okay, then do it. If you don't think you'll make back that $5,000, then you shouldn't be doing something like that. It makes sense because it is an investment in your career. You do need a lot of education for stuff like that. Also, when you're thinking about the career you're going to get, be realistic with entry-level jobs. I didn't really know that entry-level marketing and communication jobs give you no money. Literally everyone I know has 2 jobs in order to pay for their life after post-grad, which is so sad. You have to start with the entry-level job. Okay, so personally, how I paid off $30,000 of debt, I didn't have any interest because it was all to my aunt. She would pay things up front for me, and then I'd have to pay her back in monthly installments. Obviously, that's not the reality of people's debt. I love watching people pay off their credit card debt. I love watching those TikToks where, 1, people budget their salaries, and I kind of want to start doing that. And 2, people paying off their debt. Is cooking at home to save money. This is so crucial. I actually was wondering maybe I should eat out more and save money. I was thinking if that was cheaper, and then when you actually go into it, you have to tip or you have to pay a driver to send you your food, and it actually is just not cheaper. I thought maybe for a moment it was cheaper. No, it's not. Cooking at home is so much cheaper, and the food is better. The quality of the food is better. It honestly, it makes you kind of proud of yourself for how much you just accomplished. Okay, something that I think is really important when it comes to saving money is reading books about money and listening to podcasts. Let me actually tell you what podcasts I love that are all about saving money, investing, and all of that. Girls Talk Money, Girls That Invest. The Skinny Confidential has a couple guests every once in a while about money. The Money with Katie show, Secrets of Wealthy Women, and lastly, The Financial Feminist. Those are all of the podcasts I listen to. I also think following influencers who talk about money is really great. It's just good to get certain tips and tricks and learn about what investments, how they're saving money. And I also think your mindset around money is really important. I unfortunately do not have the best mindset around money. I actually get really anxious, and I'm always trying to save because I think I'm broke, and I know I'm not broke, but I just expect myself to be at this high level, be making this certain amount of money and saving this certain amount of money, and it's literally not possible. I have too high of expectations for myself. I think I'm just so afraid of not being able to purchase or have what I need when I need it. Mainly when I'm a parent, or when Max and I are married, I really don't want money to be the center of any argument. So I'm trying to work really hard now to build just my financial state as much as I can to ultimately benefit Max and I's life in the future, which I think is a great thing. But I can't let it stress me out now because I know I'm set up way more for success than a lot of people my age, and I have to remember that. So something I really liked from the book, I'm a Badass at Making Money, was their positive self-talk affirmations. It's basically to help change your negative statements you tell yourself to positive ones. And I honestly find this very helpful. It's a little weird because money is such a taboo topic, but I think it's really important. So some of the ones that I like are: I can make a lot of money comes to me easily, I deserve to be successful with money. So having a scarcity mindset around money, what it means basically, a scarcity mindset is thinking that there's not enough money or opportunities. It can make you feel worried or have a negative mindset around money, and I have that unfortunately, and I'm trying really hard not to, because there is an endless amount of money that I can make. I'm only 21, so I have my whole life to make money. I think 2 ways to help with a scarcity mindset is to be thankful for everything that you do have, all the positive experiences you've had with money, and then also imagining success. So picture yourself reaching those money goals you have, being successful, whatever it means to you, actually believing that it's going to happen for yourself. I do not budget. I think budgeting creates more of a scarcity mindset unless you have poor money habits and you need to budget. I just track all my monthly budget, or I track my monthly spending. So pretty much at the end of the month, I'll go through all my credit cards, all my debit cards, everything I spent money on to the penny, and I'll put it into a variety of categories and just compare it to the last month, see if I spent any more or less on something, and just overall see how much I'm making versus how much I'm spending. This can be really helpful because I think besides your necessities, besides like food, gas, your rent and stuff, you should have 3 pinpoints of what is valuable to you, what you want to spend your money on. And that can be literally anything. So for me, my top priorities are traveling, wellness, and my dog. If my boyfriend is here for off season, then it's my boyfriend instead of my dog. Basically, at the end of doing your monthly finances, you're going to go in and see what are the top 3 things that aren't necessities that you spend your money on. Was it those 3 things you just said are your top priorities? Because if it's not, then obviously you're spending money on things that aren't as important to you as you thought they were. So maybe your top 3 habits that you're spending money on are alcohol, going out to eat, and shopping. And those weren't the 3 things that are actually important to you. So now moving forward into the next month, you could be more mindful of when you're spending money. This is the biggest thing that's actually really helpful to me because I mostly will spend too much money on Amazon and on eating out than I would like to. And so the next month when I'm like, oh, let's go get coffee, I'm like, wait. I'm reminding myself that I didn't want to spend as much money going out. You know, there's other things I'd rather put that $20 meal towards. It's mainly important because a lot of the times we're spending money on things that we don't value and we don't even realize it. If I'm spending the most money, most of my 3 categories on miso, traveling, and wellness, okay, that makes sense. Let's say that going to get your everyday coffee is your favorite part of your day, and that is actually a priority for you. I think that most of budgeting is telling you not to get that $7 coffee. Okay, that's really not going to make a huge impact in your portfolio of saving money if that's what actually brings you joy. Someone shouldn't be telling you what to be saving money on if that's not important to you. Paying for parking is not important to me. I would rather walk. That's something I'll save money on. Eating out is not something I actually care and like to do, so I'm not going to spend money on that. I'd rather spend money on a gym membership or buying the latest dog thing for my dog or taking a trip. Instead of budgeting and being upset about yourself or going over your budget, I think it's better to just go into the next month more mindful of what you want to do and fix that. But some people obviously need more structure than that. I think also tracking my finances was such an important thing I started doing a couple years ago because it actually showed me what I was spending my money on. I obviously already admitted that I spent a lot of money on Amazon and I need to stop. They're just like little things that I don't need that I think I need. And Amazon is the only shopping app I have, so I'm always on there. I also think it's really important to track your finances so that it's not the next month and you're like, where did all my money go? And instead of being in that anxious space of never figuring out where your money goes, you actually can look back and be like, oh, it went here, here, and here, and this is how I'm not going to do that again. You should not be living paycheck to paycheck if you can help it. And if you are, maybe that's where you take an account of how much you're spending and figure out where it is unnecessary and where you can cut back on and save more. So now I'm going to share with you things that I save money on. Eating out, I already talked about that. I try not to eat out because I buy a lot of groceries and I buy high quality groceries. I only eat out if other people want to eat out. I have been going to get coffee a lot more often because it's so close to my work and I love any excuse to go get matcha. Things I save money on. Workout classes. So I do buy the highest membership of ClassPass, but I went through Kaiser and I get 20% off. I also, when I'm looking for a workout class, I pretty much like favorite all my favorite classes. I'll go in and depending on what time, I'll pick the cheapest class based off my favorite classes. So I'm not going to pick the cheapest class of a class I don't like. I'm just not going to go to the most expensive class if there's a cheaper class. And yeah, maybe it's only $2 or $3 cheaper, but that adds up every single month. And then another thing is budget traveling. So when I travel, I'm picking the cheapest flight. I'm picking the cheapest hotel that's like still nice enough. I only let myself eat out like once a day. I budget my entire travel, and I'm not vacationing. Max and I are probably going to Italy this summer, and I'm going to make it more of a vacation for him. But usually when I travel, I'm doing it on a budget because I am in my 20s. I'm not making a ton of money, so it makes no sense for me to be staying at the nicest hotel, eating the nicest food, doing all the fun events. That's just not the reality of traveling at this age. Lastly is shopping is where I save money. I don't remember the last time I've bought in clothes or I've bought in new makeup or anything pretty much for that matter. I buy most of my like shopping money goes towards like Amazon for miso, goes to home stuff, goes to like just random things I need, not necessarily clothes. I do really need new clothes because I never have clothes when there's an event. I haven't bought workout clothes in probably 2 years. I haven't bought a new bathing suit in probably over 4 years, and those are definitely things I need to go buy. Clothes are so expensive. If I am buying new clothes, it's probably from Crossroads, which is a higher end thrift store. So like things are still $20-$30, but they're used, so they're not full price. Another thing that I've been debating because I don't have enough money to pay rent is I've been debating not having a gym membership anymore. And my gym membership is only $130 a month, but that's still $130. And so I'm like, okay, should I just do at-home workouts? Should I just go on walks and runs more? Working out is probably one of my favorite parts of my day. It also produces content because I love making Instagram and TikTok stuff. And so it's like, okay, maybe that's not the best place for me to be pinching money. I actually think it should be groceries because I spend an actually absurd amount of money on groceries. But that is something if your gym membership is just insanely expensive and you don't use it a lot, or you rather do an at-home workout, that's available to you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about investing. So I started investing maybe 2 years ago. Let's check actually. I am so fascinated with investing. I thought about going into finance at one point. I did a finance internship this past year. September of 2020 is when I started investing. I use Robinhood. It's just very user friendly and easy for me to use. Robinhood lets you invest in stocks, ETFs, and crypto. I think I mainly invest in ETFs and crypto. Not a lot in crypto just because it's very risky and I'm just not that point in my career, but I do a little bit of it. Also, super random is I recently opened up a Roth IRA. I opened up a Roth IRA with Chase because I already have a Chase account. I did not know what a Roth IRA was until I saw a girl on TikTok posting about it. It's pretty much a investing account, just you don't get taxed on it. The government's way of getting you to use it, whatever, but you can only, I think, do up to $6,000, $9,000. You can only do a certain amount of money each year. And so I put $500 a month into there just because it's the same stocks, just you're not gonna have to pay taxes on it when you take it out, but you can't take it out until you're like 60 or something. You have to wait. And I just figured that out. So I just opened one of those. And then Robinhood actually has a cash account where it's sort of like a high yield savings account. It has a 5.25 APY. I think that's what it's called. The cash account is basically like it holds your money and you're making money every month. Let me tell you how much money I've made. I have made $72 with my Robinhood cash account, which may not seem like a lot, but that is 246. That's like 4 hours of work I didn't work. That's free money. And that's pretty much instead of having a savings account. Like I keep the bare minimum amount in my savings account in the Chase account, and then all the rest of my extra money of like my 6 months savings goes into the cash account. It takes a couple days to like withdraw it, so if you need something right away, like don't have all that money in there. It is a way to make money for money that's just gonna sit there, and I didn't know that. I could have made so much money at this point because I think a normal savings account is literally 1 penny or something. That's how much you're acquiring. So I mainly invest in Fortune 500 index funds. That means you're putting money into a fund that tracks the performance of the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the US. So I just listened to a podcast about whether you should be investing in the top 7 companies of the world or you should be investing in ETFs. And yes, those 7 companies performed way better than any ETF. But if one of those companies were to go down, that is a huge portion of your portfolio. And so they're like, we're still going to go with the ETF route because long term, it still does really well. And if one company out of the 500 does bad, we're still okay because that is such a smaller amount of your portfolio. It just helps your risk not be so high. Another thing with investing is this is the long-term solutions, not short-term. So I'm not trying to make as much money I can in one day. I'm leaving this in until I basically retire or I need a payment for a down payment for a house or something. And I'm really proud of how much money I've invested and saved. I always tell Max, I'm like, we're going to be so rich one day. Or just like, I tell him how much I have saved and invested. I'm like, you should be proud of me because most girls spend all their money and have $20 in their bank account. And I'm going to make sure we're not poor when we grow up. Let's talk a little bit about tips for long-term growth. Slow, long-term growth. Every single month after I do my budget, I track my finances. Basically, I see how much left over I had from how much I made versus how much I spent. And then I make sure I have my minimum of $4,000 in my checkings account. And then after that, I will invest all the remainder. Like this past month, I only had $800 left over. That's why I had a mental breakdown because I'm like, oh my God, I have to pay rent soon. And there's no way I can find rent for $800. But I don't have to pay my rent yet. So I took that $800 and I put $500 into my Roth IRA because I'm not going to get taxed on it. And then I put the other $300 into Robinhood. And I think that if you're doing monthly contributions to your investments is when you're going to make long-term growth. And also if you have a 401k, definitely be utilizing that because that is free money. It's taking money out of your paycheck and then your company is probably matching you 4, 5, 6%. And that percent of how much you're investing is literally free money. So definitely do it. But if you just like don't think of investing and it would be easier for it to be automated, you can automatically make automatic payments to your investments. Personally, I don't do that because I'm not always saving $800. I saved more than that. I also don't have a salary. I'm an hourly waged person. So I think that also makes it. But also when I was in college, when I was first investing, I did $5 a month. And that's why I like Robinhood because you can do like a part of a share. You don't have to do a whole share. If you have the extra time, get another side job, whether that's serving, babysitting, social media, dog walking. When I was in college, I babysat, I did Instacart, I did social media, and right now I currently have 2 jobs. So I work full-time for my brother and sister, and then I have another job where I run a social media account. I obviously do TikTok, Instagram, my podcast. I haven't made any money from my podcast, but I know one day I will. I do make money on TikTok, which is great. Whenever I do like partnerships and stuff, obviously like if you're trying to make as much money as you can, work that 1 to 2 extra shifts on the weekend as a server. You're gonna make so much money. That's just extra pocket change or just help you get to where you want to go, especially if you're not making as much as you want to be making. I am getting burnt out of working so much, but we'll figure that out later. Personally, like what made more sense when I was graduating college was 1, I needed a job that paid the bills, and then 2, I could have just got a serving job or something like that, but I wanted something that was going to build my resume and my portfolio, so that's why I took the social media management job. That is really, really great to have on my resume. That is something I can see myself doing, and then obviously I do social media on the side that I would love to grow even more and more and just have more flexibility in my life. But sometimes taking a lower paying job to help your resume is not an option. So that's when you would go get a serving job because obviously everyone knows that makes a lot of money. My long-term goal is to become a full-time podcaster, health coach, have some type of program or I don't know, something in that lens because I really want to help people just feel better. I know I have a lot to offer. And then obviously the podcast is my favorite platform. Don't buy stuff you cannot afford. Do not go in debt. Do not put stuff on credit cards if you cannot pay it off. I don't get girl math of this because you're going to have to pay. It's going to be more expensive by the time you pay it off. You have to live within your means. Like, even if you get a raise, don't just start spending even more money because then you're going to still be left with the same leftover amount every single month because you increased your living expenses. Have an emergency fund. I have 4 to 6 months or 3 to 6 months of savings in my cash account for my Robinhood. Once you start tracking your finances, then find like the average. Multiply that by 3, 4, 5, or 6 to get like your average. And then make sure you have that saved in case you lose your job, you lose your house or whatever happens, and you have enough money to keep going, to get you back up on your feet and just have a little cushion. Like, that's why I keep $4,000 in my checking, because that's my cushion every month. And I should never be spending more than that. That'd be freaking crazy. Also, think saving for really big events. So that's trips. Maybe that's getting a car, getting a camera, getting a dog. Like, don't just impulsively buy it. Make sure that every month you're putting a little away to save up for it. I do this with like traveling. I've told Max, like, we're going to Italy this fall. So I'm like, put away $200 every paycheck you get until we go. So it doesn't seem like, oh my God, I just spent $3,000 all of a sudden. No, you like slowly have been putting this in your savings to save up for the event. Also, make sure you're paying off your credit card in full every single month so that your credit doesn't dip, that you're not paying interest. Being more of a minimalist has been something I've been trying to do. For instance, it's really easy to just buy something from Amazon or buy something from Shein because it's really cheap. But then you're constantly purchasing the same thing over and over because the quality isn't that good. So maybe you're spending $100 more than you would like to from something from Reformation, where you know the quality is just going to be so much better, but you're going to have it for a long time. So it is going to be worth it in the end, making a capsule wardrobe so you're not purchasing items over and over and over for whatever's the trendiest, etc. Ooh, something that I did when I was trying to save money was I went through all my subscriptions. I literally realized that I was paying for the normal Apple subscription this entire time when I was a student, and they have a student subscription fee. So it's like little things like that where you can save a couple $5-10 a month, or you're paying for a subscription that you never intended on having. I accidentally was paying for Uber One this whole time, and I wanted to get my money back, and they're like, yeah, no, you can't get your money back. And I'm like, dang, I did not mean to sign up for that. So just like little things like that, it's really annoying, but it can save you some money. Is make sure all your credit cards are set on automatic payment so that you will never inquire interest, because it's automatically taking it out of your checkings. That's why personally I keep that monthly, how much I spend in a month, in my checkings, but I pretty much pay my credit cards before they're automatically paid. But that's just a safety net to make sure you don't accidentally forget to pay it. Just do it on automatic, and you don't have to think about it. Something I did, which was so smart, was deleting shopping apps. So the reason was for this was because I used in high school, I wish I spent my money better. I would go on Urban and Anthro. They would come out with new stuff every single week, and I would look through that new stuff every single week and just add things to my cart. I wouldn't always purchase it, but I'd always have things in my cart. I just had a consumer's mindset of wanting so much stuff, and it just makes it really easy to do an impulse purchase or an unplanned purchase, and you're spending way too much money way more often. By deleting the app, it's making you be more intentional to go onto the website and actually look if you want to purchase something. And something else that helps is not buying something right away, make yourself wait another day and think, oh, do you still want this? I have saved so much money by just not having apps on my phone for shopping. The only one I do have is Amazon. I should probably get rid of Amazon too. Another tip I have for you is to watch how your friends spend their money. Your friends will influence how much money you make, how much money you will spend. So if your friends are constantly talking about the newest item they want to buy, or they constantly want to go out to eat, or everything you guys do costs money, just anything in that realm, it's gonna make you do the same thing. The solution is not be friends with them, but be more mindful of being like talking with them. Hey, I'm really trying to save my money, being more mindful with my spending, and I can't go out to eat as much as I used to, or can we do activities that don't cost as much? They may not like that, but I think it would be really helpful for yourself, and it's really smart. Makes you recognize the influence that the people around you have. Also, going along with the friends is watch who you follow on social media. The influencers that influenced me to open up a Roth IRA, she was like, don't follow people who will tell you to constantly buy things. I try to be really mindful about what I promote on my Instagram, because I don't want to promote to constantly be purchasing clothes or just items. Like, if I'm going to be influencing you to purchase something, it'll be groceries or vitamins, something that's like I deem more important. I know I'm easily influenced when I see like the newest Amazon gadget, or just someone's like, you have to go buy this shirt. Like, obviously I want to go buy it now, but if you stop following those people that constantly tell you what's in their cart or fashion related or something, like it's gonna help you spend less money too, because you're not constantly thinking about what do you need next. Last thing is to have goals for yourself. So personally, every year I have a goal of saving more money than I did the year prior or investing more. I want to save more. I saved a lot of my money last year. I saved 45% of my income, which is actually insane. I can always save more. I don't think saving 45% of my income is actually realistic going forward, but I would like to make smarter choices and invest more and just keep growing my portfolio. Maybe it's a specific number, like having 100K by this age, or saving for your down payment on a house, or starting a business, setting up your retirement fund. I know they're not really sexy things. You're going to be so proud of yourself in the future when you actually need this money and you can use it, or you're just ahead of the game in your age range. I think of it mainly like for like Max and I. I'm like, Max, I'm setting us up for success when we're older, and we're not going to have money problems like as parents. Like, we're going to be able to afford a wedding. We're going to be able to afford purchasing anything we need for kids, or just like go on the vacation we want to go on. I don't want to penny pinch on things I think they're a priority. And that's the basis of me saving my money now, is so that I can really just enjoy the life a little bit later. But obviously still enjoy your life now. Just don't spend money on things you don't care about. I hope you guys liked this episode. We have so much we can talk about finances. I love talking about finances. I have way more to share. I really want to have my sister on to talk about finances. If you guys liked this episode, if you think you might know anyone who likes this episode, share it. I would really appreciate it. Share the show, and make sure you're following the Instagram as always. Also, let me know if you have any feedback on stuff. I ask that every episode, but I really truly appreciate it. I really wanted to talk about gut health today, but I just didn't feel equipped. I didn't know enough about it to talk about it. I would be looking at my notes pretty much the whole time. So I hope you guys like this episode instead. It was kind of on a whim I decided to do this episode. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll try to get this out as soon as possible. As always, go also subscribe on YouTube. That'd be nice. Okay. Love you guys. I'll talk to you next week, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. What do you want to say? Okay, I understand. Yeah? Is that what you're trying to say? Hi, Miso, baby. Miso got a bath today. The angle. And we're gonna wear headphones today. Let me know if you guys like me when I don't wear headphones, and then let me know if you like if I do wear my headphones.